Usually, unless it just moved it. So, I'm going to do this short. I don't want to do these spoilers for this because if you've not seen, I've already seen it. So, actually, I've already seen it. I'll probably rewatch it when I have to go over it or so because Gray hasn't seen the series yet. They actually dumped the whole series today. And the thing about see the show does live up to my expectations, but I can see why the show's not going to be for everyone. Because even if you take into account the stuff people know, because a heads up too, it is a good show and I do recommend it. It has a lot of the cast for the directors and the people who did the animated series. It does try to capture the 40 pulp style. They went with the Batman noir theme. And see, overall, you have to understand they went with the Batman noir theme with the mix with the animated series, as well as a little bit of a couple of the modern day stories. Because there's actually a surprise character even in the series that isn't a Batman. It's not part of the DC mythos per se, but could have been brought in from Vertigo. And overall, I do think the series is good. See, the series is going for a 40s theme that does work, despite the Harley Quinn and the Penguin switch really doesn't take away from it. Because the main villains they lay out, and I would recommend if you're going to watch it, avoid any spoilers. Now, a lot of the episodes do, like they do have the Penguin episode first, because I'm already seeing on Twitter half the people get it wrong. It's like, well, this is not Batman. Because a lot of this story too takes place. How would I describe the series? The animated series mixed together with the Adventures of Batman and Robin. Then you take a little bit of Batman first year, which is the comics generally where Batman's learning the ropes. And then combine it with a little bit of Batman Noir, which is like a 40s version. Can't remember when they did the original Batman Noir. It was like an Elseworld book for a little while. Very highly popular at some point. If I remember correctly, it was. The concept itself is actually a really, really good. The series is not bad. Now, there's the parts a lot of people will pick it apart because it doesn't feel like it's Bruce Wayne or it's Batman. Like, but certain episodes do. I'm going to say some episodes do have better strengths and weaknesses, but the overall theme is relatively good. Because when I actually get into the episode reviews, I'll probably go over it, but I'm not going to do any spoilers on this stuff. But, like, I do warn people ahead of time. If you do not like the detective style Batman, you're probably not going to like this. It is a very much, they try to dress it down to roots. Because, like, the base suit is like the 40s Batman, the original launch, with the gloves. He has no body armor, except it's not as goofy looking. But it looks like it's the medium long ears of Batman and Robin, which is the second, which is more the sequel. Like, but it is a very pulp noir feel. Even if you race swapped Gordon, they actually gave Barbara Gordon red hair. They do have Detective Montoya that is gay. They don't hide the fact she is either. They very much allude to it. But the series is also, it doesn't pull punches either. Very much like Fallout, they let the creators run with it. But run with it in universe. Even though, let's say, J.J. Abrams is attached to it as far as visual effects, the visual effects in the city are good. A lot of the animation is good. But some of the episodes are not as strong. But once you hit the main chord that they were going with, it is very good. It is a hit or miss, though. It's going to be a lot of people are just denouncing it when you see the Harley Quinn, you see the Penguin, even the Penguin's like, because I'm already looking at some reactions and I'm like, you're killing the series before it starts. Now, every episode is about 30 minutes. 30, 35. They did 10 episodes, basically. And a lot of the episodes do play out as villain of the week. Which, in reality, works. They do have, like, I think it's like the last 3 episodes work together. Like, you have at least the main plot. And you learn what the main plot is very quickly from what the series is. But a lot of it's Batman figuring out how to be Batman. And there's an episode that I will touch on when I do review it. And it is a core part of the story in a niche or small telling. Because a lot of what he drew from was Batman the Animated Series, the sequel series, which is like Batman and Robin, mixed with Batman Noir, and in the comics Year One. Because it's not like Batman is perfect. Now, some people may not like this version of Bruce Wayne or Alfred. I can already see it right now. It's like the animation style is really good. A lot of the plot works. It's not like, it does have like characters that are very strong and notable at the start. But the people who marketed this series did not market it well. Basically. But I do recommend it. It is a very weird telling. It has the Elseworld feel to it. But once you understand it's the Elseworld feel, it looks fine. Like, prime example, what people thought was Firefly is Firebug. Which, very different. Thing is, you can kind of know who the villains are, but you don't know how the episode's going to play out. And it does have the very early TAS feel, but in a more adult. But the brutality of the series is actually really there. You do see people die. So it's not like a series that they pull punches and say, oh, you don't see a person. Like, you could show it to a kid, probably wouldn't know, but it does have it's actually good for all ages. But I do recommend it. Now the more controversial parts, that being the Penguin, the Harley Quinn, I'll have to get into more when I get into it because a lot of people don't like the depiction of the Penguin, which I get it. It's an alternate take. For me, it's the execution of the series. The series needed to land the storytelling, and it did. Every episode has a start, every episode has a middle, and every episode has a finish. It always has an introduction, it always has a middle, it always has to finish the plot. Some episodes have a plot device that comes up later on. I mean, if you haven't seen the trailers, it's pretty much how it is. Like, they do say Harley Quinn is bisexual. They have Montoya as gay, but they don't explicitly say it. The rules of the universe are very well set. It's kind of like, but I'm not going to say the series is dead on arrival. But if you do not like the style, like if episode 1 doesn't grab you or you're not a fan of the noir, I say give it a chance. Because it's a mixture of the animated series mixed with Batman Noir and mixed with some of the like storytelling of Batman Year One. A lot of this is Batman discovering his training wheels. Because bear in mind, everyone is used to a very well coordinated Batman. He knows everything going on. He knows. And the series does do that. Like, he's good at deducing things. Like, it's very interesting in the storytelling, at least from that perspective. Like, there's an episode later in which is the season, where Batman is trying to save everybody. I mean, there is actually a really interesting, questionable one. Like, to be fair, a very based moment, because you do have some cameos in the series itself. Like, I would say the cameos are of the Rogues Gallery, but they're there. Now, I don't know if I would have gone with some of the more bizarre choices. Now, Bruce Timm and did go with a couple of weird villain choices. But then you show one of the major villains, but he's a side character in the episode. But as I said, I do recommend it, and I'm sure a lot of people will binge watch it during the weekend. But don't go in it expecting, because a lot of people are overhyping the idea of what it does. Like, the Penguin episode is first. I think like the Harley Quinn is a fourth episode. I mean, even the playing around with Catwoman works. I mean, because it's not really overall. Now, because almost every episode has a very good opening, end, middle, and end. And it's not like And I will say this, even if the episode was subpar, the episode has good storytelling per episode. But this is my perspective on it. Because even if I I disagree with some of the weaker episodes that are there, and I'll go over it when I review it. I feel like even the weaker episodes do have a story or a lesson or something that plays into the whole. They may not be a major episode, what you think, but they do play a role later on. You know, but it's a little weird. But I'll probably do episode by episode or chunk it, depending on it. Because I think Gray is going to review it with me too, hopefully, when he watches it. But yes, give it a watch this weekend if you have Amazon Prime. But it is going to be very weird for people. The series is brutal. Some of the storytelling, it has more of the detective pacing to it. Because that's what like half the episodes are. It's not like, aha, Batman knows it or something. And it does include a weird rogues gallery. Like, even when I have to look up villains, it's not a bad thing, but I want to know who they are. And it's going to be, but it's worth the watch. And it's not like it'd be something you're going to hate. Because I already look at, like, Twitter. It's already full of, like... But as I said, it's either going to grab you early or you're just not going to watch it. Because, like, one guy, I was just scrolling through Twitter before I saw this kind of thing. Started my own. He's a Batman fan. But, again, it's like, well, but you don't have a Batman noir. It is a very interesting style. Now, in the perspective of how it's being done, it doesn't try to recapture the animated series. That's the way it makes you feel in the beginning. But then I was thinking about it too, because it starts to go in what is Batman Noir, which is clearly a 40s theme. But then you have the theme as well as a Batman Year One. And like Year Two feel. In a couple of those runs. Because Batman doesn't know his own limits. Now, I will say, as well, and I have to elaborate a little bit, because it's a different Bruce Wayne as well. It's like the Playboy Bruce Wayne, and then you have Batman. It's a very classic style of how they used to do Batman. And it's... I just want to go to spoilers. But there is a reason he acts the way he does. But as I said, I'll give it about a week, and I'll go into it next week, probably not this week. But I do recommend the series, and even the stuff they changed that I don't particularly agree with, they do land it. But the episode is still pretty much the episode of the week, villain of the week, until you get to the main plot. When you get to the main plot, which you learn what it is, which is the overarching goal of the season, then yes. Now, I am shocked, by the way, they only have 10 episodes. I can guarantee you they have 20 slated. But I'm thinking Amazon's like, we're only going to release 10 at a time. But you never know with that, the way Amazon is. And we got to wait 6 more months, maybe a year for season 2. And boy, does it leave you with a really good ending. I think the final episodes are really good. There's a strong build up. As I said, some of the episodes. But the way they do pay off is good. That's why I said when you finally get to the end, you'll see it. But I'll leave it at that. And I'll be doing, I think, starting next week, I'll just do episode by episode or group by group kind of thing. Probably cut this down and take this into a video. But yeah, it's worth a watch. But I do know a lot of people are going to have issues with the way some of the characters are done. I can already tell you they're going to hate Barbara Gordon. They're probably going to hate Montoya. I had no issues with Montoya. Because the rules in which this universe is established, it works. But without me getting into spoilers, I'll just leave it at that. And the ID. But, as I said, if you're going to watch it this weekend, I do wholeheartedly recommend the series. Can't say that enough. It is refreshing, and it actually keeps me peeled to the screen for the most part. But, as I say too, and I do give the warning, that they don't skip on it. I mean, then again, you never know how people are. They may just not watch it based on one episode. But just give it an episode. Watch the first 2 or 3. I mean, a lot of it is every episode is executed good. I mean, plot's executed good as well. But that's my thoughts, though. But I wish people luck. And I'm sure everyone will catch it later. And I will be doing episode reviews next week.